Alright, this chapter is on air pollution. Remember that pollution is anything that does harm to either organisms or the environment. We have different types of sources of air pollution. We have natural ones like coming from a volcano, fires, also you can have gases seeping directly from the earth. And then we have manufactured ones, human-induced. Those are mainly from transportation or industry. Different diseases like cancer have been on the rise, a dramatic increase over the last 50 years. And part of this is coming from a pollution that most of us are affected by on a daily basis, so we don't even think about it. Whatever you breathe has the potential to get into your system. And most of the stuff that we breathe we are unaware of, but sometimes you can smell different smells and sometimes see things in the air. Well, when you smell things, that is a small or a low concentration or a small part of the source getting into you. So when you actually smell something, that is a little bit of whatever that is getting into your system. So this chapter we're going to be talking about and looking at more in detail air pollution. Taking a look back at the atmosphere, remember that we have the different layers of atmosphere. Troposphere, which most greenhouse gases are found there, and that's the layer that we interact with. The stratosphere, that is above that has beneficial ozone. And then the mesosphere and thermosphere. Now the atmosphere is made up of mainly nitrogen, 78%. And then the second most abundant molecule is oxygen, 21%. And then as you go down you have argon and then carbon dioxide gas, which is very actually small, but it's a very potent greenhouse gas. So air pollution can be comprised of gases, liquids, solids that are present in the atmosphere in high enough concentration that cause harm. That's the pollution part, to organisms or material. Where do you think that air pollution is the worst? If we look at some of the diagrams down here, we can look at primary and secondary air pollutants, which we'll talk about here in a bit, and their sources of where they can come from. And then once they're in the atmosphere, they can change, which they then turn into secondary air pollutants. And you can see here some different sources as well. Industry, transportation, natural, and natural. We have the primary air pollutants and secondary air pollutants. Primary are the ones, basically how they sound, are ones that directly are put in the atmosphere from a point source. And those can be like particulate matters, nitrogen oxides, sulfur oxides, carbon oxides, hydrocarbons, also known as VOCs, and other types of air toxins. And then you have secondary air pollutants, which these form in the atmosphere after primary have been emitted. So primary, some type of chemical reaction occurs in the air, and then they make secondary air pollutants. Examples of these are ozone and sulfuric acid.